Hello, welcome to another edition of Fully Booked and Bonkers. We're back after a wee bit of a delay, so it's been a crazy couple of weeks. But we topped those crazy couple of weeks off with a weekend in Glasgow, and we went to IKEA, well overdue. But at the same time, no, well,
I did not buy tea lights. Probably the first time I've ever been in IKEA and not come away with.
You saw the tea lights, and you saw the price of the tea lights, and said, because they've all gone up.
Yeah, they're about 5 times the price they used to be. I don't need them that time.
No, you didn't. So, but the prime reason we were there, we went to a book swap brunch hosted by Heather Sutty, who's the founder of Bookface 2020, which is a Facebook group. So that was great, and we met up. There was a guy there doing a presentation discussion about his book, a guy called Paul English, and this was his.
For fans of Deacon Blue.
If you're a fan of Deacon Blue, he was a super fan. It's basically this. It's basically the story of his following of them, but also it's the official biography of Deacon Blue as well. So you've got lots of stuff in there from the surviving founder members.
Yeah, he got to know the band really well over
well.
his decades.
Yeah, even to one point when he was with a group of friends of theirs, that he was backstage, and people thought they were a band.
Yeah, it was really funny and really moving as well. It was lovely, it was and not just his stories, but stories from Deacon Blue fans over the years.
Over the years, so
it was really interesting.
It was really good. It was good fun. So we're going back to another one soon, hopefully. For that. But also excitingly, you received your proofs for your next book.
Yes.
Making Sacrifices.
Yes.
So she's been head down doing stuff. So what explain to me what is a proof?
I call it micro editing. Your manuscript comes back and it's covered in red lines and highlights and comments, and well, it's an electronic thing, and I have to go through it because it's mainly about punctuation and grammar, typesetting, and the odd comment about sort of continuity or why have you used those words. So basically, for about 3 days, I was head down, going through the manuscript line by line because I had made so many mistakes, because I'm really crap with punctuation, especially commas. If you need a comma, I probably didn't use it, and if you don't need a comma, I probably put one in. Right. Too many commas all over the place, and it was just a comma fest. Okay. But I did it.
Was it comical?
It was comical, yes, it was comical. Brilliant, that's brilliant.
Right, I mean, come on.
So I said, now it's been. It will be sent back to the publisher tomorrow, and now it's going to be the most slow and boring game of tennis that you ever could imagine, because now I have to wait on them to send it back to me for the next edit, and then backwards and forwards until we're all happy, and then I'll get a publication date.
And any idea when that will be?
Hopefully this year.
Where are we now? Is it May? Okay, so anytime soon.
I'm hoping sort of September or October.
Okay, well, we look forward to that anyway. Yeah. If I keep touching my face, I'm really hot. Sorry.
He spent yesterday outside in Campbelltown being a marshal for a 30 mile run.
Yeah, that was the Kintyre Ultra.
30 miles?
33 miles. 30 but you're up miles. Through glens, a little bit of roads.
Yeah, quite a achievement for the people who took part and finished it.
It made me tired thinking about it.
But he was outside all day, near the water, in the breeze, and ended up coming home like a big swan vest.
I stood there, and it was great when there's no runners. I was watching all the sea otters playing and stuff. Wow, this is just funny. You couldn't be in a sandwich, better place.
And a coffee, but no sunblock.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, in Scotland, who knew that you needed sunblock?
Yeah, so I'm slightly sunburnt. I'm sore. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I'm rabbiting on. Right, now the book review tonight is Fairytales Don't Come True by the author Laura Lyndhurst. I'm going to look at my notes because we've done a bit of research on Laura. Originally from London, but has travelled extensively, and she began... Why are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing. We did a bit of research. Aye, but we're just crap. So we're looking at those.
I've got to look at. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. Honestly, it has.
We've been really busy.
I've not been home for most of the last couple of weeks, so it's been
I know.
anyway, so in 2011, she began working as a freelance, as a sub-editor for Best Book Editors, as well as writing book reviews and blogs for their website.
We love Best Book Editors.
They are good. They are really good, really good. Now, she published her first novel, Fairytales Don't Come True, which is the one you're going to be reviewing tonight. Yep. That was in 2020, and since she's since published 4 books of poetry and 3 further novels, 2 of which from the Criminal Conversations trilogy, along with Fairytales, which is the first instalment.
Yes.
I hope you got all that. Thanks, Laura, for being patient and listening to me. If you're watching this, I'm going to let you review the book now. Take it away. We've got no music on.
Well, this is Ian just said it's the first volume in a trilogy. So lots of people, me included, love it when you get to the end of a book and there's something in the future. So I'll definitely be reading the rest because I really enjoyed this one. And it's I suppose it's quite a sexy book, without being erotic. So you've got to sort of go into the story that this is a conversation about sex and sexuality. But it's not graphic, so it's not sort of like porn, written porn. It's not that. And it's about a prostitute. Well, she's not a prostitute any longer, basically because she's in her deathbed, and she has a middle-aged West Indian woman called Dora as her end-of-life care nurse. Okay. So Magdalena is a prostitute. She's 28 years old.
28?
Yes. So she's very young, heartbreakingly young. And she's dying because she has cervical cancer. Okay. And when Dora first encounters her, she's quite judgmental. Dora West Indian. Right. Okay. And she's a religious woman. She's married, she's a mother. And she has certain preconceived ideas about the person that Magdalena is, and she's extremely judgmental, surely more than Jesus would appreciate, really. But you do find that a lot of people are quite judgmental if they have sort of religion.
Yeah. Oh them. God, blimey, yes.
It's almost like a religious pastime. So anyway, but Dora then gets to know Magdalena, the person, because Magdalena is basically, she's telling her story. She's telling Dora how she came to be the person that she is. Right. So the story is told. It's a narrative.
Magdalena telling.
Well, yeah, but the sort of format of the book is that it's a dialogue between these two women for much of it, or not. I shouldn't say between these two, because Dora doesn't contribute an awful lot in terms of story herself, though she does. You do get more of Dora's story as Magdalena's unfolds, simply because by listening to Magdalena,
her decisions.
Yeah, well, it makes her think about herself, because she's a sexual adult as well. She's a wife and she's a mother. And she has Desmond at home, who is her husband. And at that period in time, there's some cracks in her marriage, real or imagined, but Dora feels vulnerable. Right. So she's listening to a very vulnerable woman talking about how she comes to be where she is. And not with cancer, you understand, it's more that this is the person that she's become. She's the cancer is something that's kind of sort of at the very end of her life. Until she got to that point, she was a very high class prostitute.
But she obviously had parents, did she? And when did she leave home?
She left home. She has to battle to go to university, and that's kind of what leads her down that path, because she's a student and she has to work as well as study, and she ends up doing 2 or 3 part-time jobs. And she's supposed to be studying and doing exams, and basically she can't do everything. Like so many students, they've just got so many financial burdens. But trying to support yourself, and she wasn't getting any parental support because her parents didn't approve of her going to university. They were religious as well, and they wanted her to get married and have children. And her place would be in the home because she's got fanny, not a prick, and so she's got no business getting an education. But well, a lot of life's decisions come down to that, don't they? If you've got a penis, you get to do one thing. If you have a fanny, then something else is there. No, of course it shouldn't. But anyway. this is the kind of
that's life.
She's brought up to consider that this is herself. This is what her role is in the home and with the children. So she's not getting any parental support. So she needs to make a higher income in less time, if you like,
to see it through
college. So she an opportunity comes her way and she takes it, and that leads her ultimately down a path of, I would say she's not at the start, she's not a prostitute, she's more a concubine. For a rich man, and there's an element of exclusivity, but there's also a financial transaction taking place. And the story just unfolds, and Magdalena's telling her story, and Dora is revealing her story as well. And it's a really moving book. It makes you think a lot. Makes you perhaps question your own attitudes, or it depends on what your attitudes are. But I loved it. It's a really good story, and I'm really looking forward to reading the next 2 installments, because I know that from reading other reviews that these books are not obviously linked, but very cleverly are, and I'm really looking forward to them.
Fantastic. So it must be quite a story though. I mean,
it's an amazing.
So during the length of the story, does she fall in love? Does she meet any guys?
Well, that's the thing, because Magdalena's Magdalena, and she's a very, very young, a very naive, innocent young woman at the start of her story, and her life just takes so many challenging turns, really, and puts her into positions, but she maintains her innocence in a way which is really very endearing, and that's endeared Magdalena to me, obviously to Dora, also to the other women that take part in the story, so and to some of the male characters as well. But Magdalena is a beautiful person.
It sounds great. And
her beauty is revealed through her story, and that means it's a beautiful story, and it is. Great. And that's really all I can say about it.
So you'll be definitely reading the sequels?
Yes.
Fantastic. Excellent. Listen. That's been going on all the way through this.
Yeah, it's really
I only noticed because we didn't have any music on, but Ruby the pug is sitting in the corner, or sitting next to us here. And
she's lying next to me. I forgot to show you the cover of the book. I do apologise. So before we go, the cover of Fairytales Don't Come True by Laura Lyndhurst. I don't know, it's quite a stark cover.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're so crap.
No, we're just so tired because it's been mad. We've missed everybody. So we thought, we'll come back with a song as well. Right, so we're going to leave it there for this edition, and we'd like to thank you very much for being patient. If I get close enough, keep your hands warm.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon. See ya.
Bye.